What's up YouTube, Demi here with another video. This is the 6th in the series of how I make so much currency. In this series I go over screenshots of items that I've sold in the past. I talk about what they are being used for, like what builds, or sorry, I guess what builds are using them, what the powerful roles are on them, and all of this stuff is to help you learn what items are valuable, what combinations of roles are valuable, and to just like be able to talk through some of the stuff I've sold or made or crafted or I don't know, along those lines, just to help you like learn a little bit more about the PoE economy. So these are usually fairly long videos. Be aware they usually run about an hour long. We'll see how long this one is. I'm not sure yet, but learn as much as you can. There's a bunch of them. The previous one will always be linked in the description below the video. So let's go ahead and get started. First screenshot, we got a 4-property jewel here. This is spell damage, double cast, speed while dual wielding, and life. This is actually perfect for like a dark pack type build or a incinerate build, some sort of weird scorching ray build. Like there's a lot of dual wield spellcasters out there. You usually want to wield 2 wands or 2 scepters for the most damage, or even 2 daggers even if you want like extreme crit. And the meta is currently life, so life triple damage basically. That's worth a lot of exalts. There's another one. This one's actually ES triple damage. Damage, phase damage, attack speed, ES. Which was weird to me because I was like, this guy's a trickster. I'm not really sure what he's doing. But it is triple damage and energy shield, or triple damage life, so I get similar price level actually. Over here, I'm not really sure like if I would have bought these personally, but they're T1 strength, T1 int, and T1 life. And they have 600 plus armor. The issue I have with this is it's corrupted and it's a helm. And it doesn't have any enchantments on it, right? And lab enchants are very, very powerful, especially helm enchants, but this guy wanted to pay 10 exalts for it. I mean, that's a lot of stats for a helmet. It's a lot of life. T1 strength plus T1 life is like 120 something maximum life. Like, that's a lot. And as a character on the top right side of the tree, you're lacking in strength and sometimes intelligence, so like this fulfills both of those needs and gives you a ton of life on top of that. Alright, so these are corrupted Malagar's virtuosities. These are usually worth like a chaos max, but if you throw a Vowel orb at them, even if you don't socket and link them, because you can do that with Reach 8, if you get a curse on hit pair, they will sell for a lot of currency. This one happens to be a fairly high multi-roll if I remember right, and level 12 vulnerability on hit is the highest level. You can hit 10, 11, or 12 vulnerability, elemental weakness, or temporal chains on hit, along with a bunch of other useless rolls, but these are like the most valuable ones, especially for like phase or damage over time type characters. Or poison builds specifically. This is very, very good for those type of builds, and I sold it for 6 exalts. So I traded a Vowel orb with a 1 chaos unique for 6 exalts. That's a very high value, like high increase. Okay, this is a pretty big sale. This is 70 exalted. The reason for that is that this is tier 1 crit and tier 1 legacy crit multi, which you can't actually get anymore. It only goes up to 38% now. It used to go up to 70%. But this is like, it's also tier 1 flat phase, so I think that this guy is going to like eternal annul these and try to get rid of the int cold damage ES and make a different amulet out of it, is what I was thinking personally. That being said, as is, it's a really, really good amulet for DPS. It doesn't have that much life, and it doesn't have any life rather. It has a little bit of ES, but still. With Fizz crit multi, like legacy crit multi, this is an insane amulet. This was actually sold for what's his name? New character, or Sebastian, I think is his account name, but he's a client of mine. He gives me like higher end items to sell for him since he's not online a lot, and then I get a cut of the fees. But this is one of his items. I didn't get legacy items because I didn't play when this was a role that you could possibly have, but pretty cool sale. I'm glad to see it go though. We've had it for like 2 or 3 months now. Oh, what we got here. Oh, this was kind of funny. So this is another one of those items that you pick up and they're not really worth that much, like maybe 5-10 chaos for a good rolled Carnage heart. These are one of the new ones that doesn't have the minus maximum life on it or anything like that. Again, I just threw a Vowel orb at it and I hit +1 curse. And it has fairly high all attributes and good leech, good damage while leeching. So I was like, okay, I don't know how much this is worth. Went to price check it. There was only like 5 on standard. And the lowest one was like 80 exalts or something stupid. So I put mine up for like 35, 40 I think. I think it was 40 exalts. And a Slayer approached me and really wanted it, but he didn't have 40 exalts. He had 30 plus a 6-link Deviant's Dirge, which is like 6 to 10x I think on standard, depending on the roll. And again, this is a Vowel orb plus some chaos of an item, and I was like, yeah, I'm down. Sure, I'll take the uptrade. That's fine with me. definitely worth it, especially on standard. I don't know why they're this expensive still. In League, they were like 5x, I think, when I checked, but I will take 40 exalts for a Vowel any day of the week. Okay, so this is a helm. This is a bone helmet, right? So it's a Atlas of World specific unique. It only drops in specific maps in the Atlas, and this one happens to be I-84. I chaos spammed it until it hit like good rolls. So it has tier 2 life, tier 2 strength, and tier 1 cold resistance. Those are like the good rolls. And of course the minion damage. So like I envisioned this as a helm for people that really wanted to play a Baron build, but they couldn't get a Baron for some reason, so they went for this instead. But it's like 120 something life, 300, 400 armor, energy shield, plus cold res. Like, it's a pretty good helm. And it's got the minion damage implicit, but I don't know what this guy was doing with it, because he's a Scourge character. Or, I'm sorry, he's a Raider. He could possibly be a Scourge character, which is maybe why he wants it. Scourge is a claw that lets your attacks deal bonus damage. Like, your minion damage scales your damage as well, so 40% increased damage on your helmet from this helm would give you 40% increased damage from your Scourge. I think that's what he was doing, but sold for 7 exalts. I'll take that from Chaos Spam. I think the helm base is like an X maybe, so I profited like probably 5x total on that one. Okay, this is a shield for a low-life Guardian. This guy was looking for a shield to help him sustain RF, right? The reduced damage taken from damage over time mod used to be a Leo craft. They actually nerfed it down to a range of 5% now. It used to be 5 to 20%, and now it's just a set 5%. So this is a legacy roll, and it's got legacy energy shield rolls because these all went legacy as well, so it's just kind of annoying overall. But it's a 530 ES shield in 3.0 with a legacy craft on it and legacy prefixes, triple legacy prefixes. 33 exalts. Before this league, this would have been worth like 5x max, but because it went legacy, I put all of my like high-end legacy stuff in higher price tabs because I knew they would sell anyway, since you can't craft them anymore. And this went ahead and sold for 33 exalts. Now the same thing as last time. This is a almost triple T1 suffix ring. It's an all resistance amulet with a ton of resistances and intelligence and energy shield, along with a little bit of cold damage to attacks. And then this roll right here, percentage increase maximum energy shield, that roll went legacy in 3.0 as well. So on standard, all of your jewelry with crafts, not jewelry specifically, just rings with energy shield percent on it is now legacy, so be aware of that when it goes to pricing. Because I basically took out all of my percent increased energy shield rings and I put them in a tab for 10 to 15x if they were less than that, listed, if I had priced them at less than that, I just put them automatically. Lowest price, 10x for legacy roll. It used to cost an exalt to put this on, and now you can't do that anymore, so rings like this become even more valuable. This is an extremely high resistances energy shield ring. This int gives energy shield as well, so 13 exalts. Oh man, I forgot this was in here. This was a trade in Harbinger softcore. This guy, I was in Global 820 looking for, or sorry, Trade 820, finishing my 3640 challenges in Harbinger League, right? And this guy accidentally or on purpose posts, want to sell one elk, and I was like, bro, I will buy that. So we spent like 5 minutes trying to get this guy to sell us the alchemy orb for one elk. He meant to say he wanted to sell a map or something for an elk, but he said one elk for one elk, and I made him stick to that. And because I wouldn't leave his hideout, I think eventually he just got tired of me and just like traded me the elk for an elk, and it was awesome. What we got here? This is the same as the previous energy shield sort of one. It's got double T1 suffixes. Actually, this is triple T1 suffixes, so this could potentially be crafted into something really, really good. I don't know if that's what this guy intended to do with it, but it's T1 crit for spells, T1 cold res, reduced damage check of damage over time, which again went legacy. And then it had really high percent energy shield and flat energy shield rolls with a very, very bad hybrid energy shield roll. So you could potentially Eternal Annul this, get rid of that stun recovery prefix roll, hybrid energy shield stun recovery. And then you could Eternal Exalt it if you wanted to try to craft a higher tier of hybrid or go for spell damage or something along those lines. But I think he was just wanting to use it as is for a crit trickster type build. So he wants the regen, maybe, I don't know. But like 45 exalts for an item that before was worth like maybe 8 to 10 exalts. I'm always willing to take sales like this. This is a huge amount of currency to play with, and you can craft a lot more stuff with this and make that currency multiply, so that's good sale. This is a very defensive leather belt. It's tri-res, it's got T1 armor, it's got pretty high life. I think it's what, 40 plus 79 is 109 maximum life. Like, that's a lot of life. It's got 80 something, 90 something res. Good defensive belt overall, and I mean 6 exalts, sure. This one was a weird one. I had to like figure out what this guy was playing. It turns out he was playing a Brutus led sprinkler build, but he was doing some weird, I don't know, he Juggernaut instead of Berserker, like I don't know what he was doing. And this doesn't even have strength on it, but he said he really needed the extra resistances. Oh, it does have strength, sorry, I thought this said in. He said he really needed the extra resists, and he's also trying to incorporate Mind Over Matter. So this is tier 1 life, tier 1 mana, tier 3 or tier 2 strength, and then like lower tier and tier 2 wed with a lot of resistances. Like, this is a strange ring. Usually if players want a damage ring, they want like an opal ring with wed, or a steel ring with wed, or a diamond ring with wed, but this is a resistance ring that also happens to have a ton of like damage plus defensive stats. It's a very good, oops, I zoomed in, oops. It's a very good overall combination, and I sold it for 10 exalts. I believe I chaos spammed this, but it has very good prefixes, so like he could potentially try to annul off the resistance roll or the int roll, and then like metacraft the suffixes. It's totally up to him though, I don't know what he did with it. Okay, so this is an example of a 4 damage property jewel that happens to work for a multitude of other builds, right? So it's attack speed while holding a shield, attack speed with swords, attack and cast speed, and global crit multi. This could work for like one-hand and shield spectral throw, blade flurry crit build, frostblades crit build, like basically any attack sword build could use this. It also works for like discharge characters. Discharge, caster crit discharge with Cosprey's Malice. Malice is a sword. You want a ton of attack speed with Cosprey's Malice so that your shield charge is faster, so you can travel throughout the map as fast as possible. It also has that global multi-roll to give you a little bit of damage, or a lot of bit of damage in endgame actually. And 6 exalts. I mean, who's gonna complain with that? 4 damage prop jewel, 6 exalts. Good to go. Here's another one, very similar, again for discharge. Why is this one so much? Oh, actually, I think he meant to pay for 3 different things. I think I only screenshotted 2 of them. I should have had 2 jewels here. He paid for 2 jewels at once. They were the same price as the previous one, 6 and something exalts. But it's the exact same thing. Attack speed, global crit multi, attack speed. So it's perfect for all of those previous builds. I'm pretty sure he was playing discharge though. Oh, this is one of my mirror services actually. For those of you that are confused about how much currency I make about mirror services, I have, as of today when I'm recording this, I've done 14 total mirror services. And each one maximum fee that I do on my own items is 30 exalts. So I spend hundreds of exalts crafting one item. I don't make profit on my mirror services usually. Like, they're just for fun, and I like sharing my items to the world. So if somebody actually wants to mirror them, I'm always very happy to oblige, but I don't charge a lot for them, and they don't happen very often. So like, that's not my source of income. All these other items that you see sold, that's my source of income. But this is a mirror service. It's a tier 1 perfectly divined, T1 fizz, T1 added fizz, and then multi-modded out, 30x fee plus the mirror itself. Oh man, so earlier this year, from like Christmas to April or so, I spent 140,000 something alterations, like hundreds of exalts, probably thousands of scour regal attempts trying to create a mirror tier flesh ripper, which we did actually get. It's in the mirror thread in the description of this video. It is called Apocalypse Spawn. It is, I think, still the +1 bleed flesh ripper. It's like 650 DPS or so with bleed. And this is one of the ones that we got along the way. It's +1 socketed gems with merciless physical damage. Basically, every time I hit merciless, I would try to exalt the last prefix and try to hit flaring, which is tier 1 flat added physical damage. This one did not get that. It got another T1 prefix, which is like, I guess, good, but not what I was looking for. So I multi-modded it out, 5-linked it, and ended up selling it like a couple leagues later for 1.5 exalts, which is not... I didn't make the money back. I spent the 1x to hit this roll, and then 2x to clear off the suffixes, 2x to multi-mod it. So this price is really bad, but I'm glad I got it on my freaking trade window. Tabs, whatever. What do we got here? Oh, this is actually a purchase that I made, funnily enough. I bought this in Harbinger Softcore. And actually, it's Harbinger Hardcore. Sorry, this isn't my Hardcore hideout, but this is a I-84 Jade Amulet with Tier 1 Strength, Tier 1 Int, Tier 1 All Attributes, and some bad prefixes. So I actually had to annul this, which I believe I hit, and I don't show it. I annulled off one of the suffixes, one of the prefixes. So at that point, I can remove all of the prefixes and then metacraft this later to try to replace the Apocalypse Charm Onyx Amulet that we crafted earlier than this week, which I spent approximately 500 Exalted Orbs trying to finish for my Poison Lacerate's Lair. Didn't end up getting it. We crafted instead this weird, crazy Astromentus style amulet with like, I think it's 100 and something intelligence and it's like 80 dex and like 50 strength. And spell damage percent ES, so it's basically a Whispering Ice amulet now, instead of the physical damage and life amulet that I wanted. But I mean, this is the base that I'll be crafting to try to replace that one. Going for the same stuff as the previous one. But I bought it for 150 chaos, which I found was pretty funny. He did that because it was a 50-50 shot at annulling off one of the prefixes, and if I annulled the suffix, it was just dead. But I hit that 50-50 shot, and we're good to go. Okay, basic belt here, Crystal Belt, which is an Energy Shield base belt. It has Energy Shield, triple resistances, sells for a couple exalts. Same as like a leather belt with life, triple resist. It'll probably sell for around the same price, depending on how high the resistances are. Just a basic thing. If you pick up a Crystal Belt, I just chaos spam them until I have something like this, and then I just sell them every time for a couple X. Alright, so this is a interesting jewel. It's physical damage, life, area damage, which is good on a jewel by itself, but it also has knockback enemies on hit. Some builds really want knockback on hit, like the reverse knockback type characters with Empire's Grasp. They basically act as a vacuum, like Cyclone builds. You vacuum everything in on top of you by using knockback. So I think that's what this guy was doing. He's a Slayer, so he's got a ton of AoE, ton of Leech, ton of physical damage, two-handed damage, Cyclone. And I think he was playing a Fizz, like a Brutality type Cyclone build, so he's pure Fizz, and just like vacuuming everything on top of himself with Empire's Grasp. Which means you hit them all more with Cyclone, so it's pretty good DPS and clear. But this sold for 4 exalts, which I thought was kind of high. I would have priced this personally at like 2 exalts, but he offered 4x for it, and I just accepted it, because I mean, 4x is 4x, right? Okay, so this is another example of why I evolve things. Like, this is a Stone of Lazwar base, and I evolved those for +1 curse, which I actually hit one earlier on stream today, which was pretty cool. I didn't hit it on this one. It turned into this weird spell damage, cast speed, ES amulet, and I ended up selling that for 150 chaos, which is, or sorry, an X and 50 chaos, which is about 150 chaos total at the point of this point in time. So I mean, I traded Vowel for 150C. That's fine. What we got here? This is a quad damage jewel. Again, same thing as the previous ones. Actually, this is a discharge jewel. It was sold to an assassin named Flaccid Discharge. So as you can tell, he's probably playing a discharge character. This doesn't have multi on it, so I wouldn't value it that high personally, but he offered for it. I took the price. It's damage, double attack speed. So if this was divined perfectly, I think it's 14% attack speed, and then like 22% damage, which is pretty good. It's a lot of attack speed for a jewel. 7.5x. Okay, so this is the reason this is so expensive. This is Afak, one of my crafting buddies. His channel's on my YouTube channel suggested this. He does a lot of standard crafting. He has the best DPS steel ring in the game, the #1 bleed two-handed axe in the game. What else does he have? #1 crit multi life amulet. Like, he's got a lot of really, really good items, right? In this base, he purchased from me to craft for his own character. He's still working on it, I believe, but he wants to hit T1 Fizz, T1 Life, and then armor on it. Percent armor, so he's gonna craft that last one. And this base, I chaos found a couple leagues ago, and it's Tier 1 Intelligence, Tier 1 All Res, Tier 1 Lightning Res. It's perfect suffixes for his character, balances his resistances and his stat needs. He just has to hit the prefixes on it. We paid for the base, and he will finish it himself later on in time. This is just a random ball orb. I evolved an efficient training, which is the transform strength, or 2 strength, cannot be cursed with silence, which is kind of cool. Just a random ball orb. It'll be worth a lot more because of that implicit. Cannot be silenced means you never get silenced, and silence means you can't cast spells, which is not ideal. Oh, this was funny. So I have this item in standard listed for Amir, And if you list an item for a mirror, it means that it's for mirror service. It's not for sale for a mirror, but even if it were for sale for a mirror, this guy offered 40 exalts for it. A mirror in standard is worth around 170 exalts right now. And he was serious. Like, he wanted to buy this mace, which is 680 DPS or something like that. It's ready to be mirrored. He offered 40 exalts. This is the #1 AoE two-handed mace. It's the best in slot mace for Earthquake Cyclone. It's so nice. And yeah, 40x. Anyways, moving on. Here we have an unset ring with tier 1, alright, here's the power rolls. Tier 1 life, tier 1 cold res, tier 1 elemental damage with attack skills. It also has tier 1 evasion rating, so if somebody was playing an Iron Reflexes build, you could convert that evasion rating into armor if you so desired, or you just want some extra evasion for a Queen of the Forest type character. I don't know, it's up to you. Chaos spammed it, sold it for 2 exalts. Okay, this is a pair of Insanity gloves. Insanity is an essence. It's one of the top 4 tier of essences. It's very hard to roll with because they're pretty expensive and each one acts like a chaos orb basically. But this was an item crafted with that on a spell damage pair of gloves. It gives more attack and cast speed as a suffix, and then resistance life. This is T2 life, T2 lightning, T3 fire, and then crafted mana leech, which is a T1 roll. So they're very nice gloves. And they're meant to be for like a Crown of Eyes build, so the spell damage applies to your attacks, which is why they have leech. But I think this guy was the caster. We sold these for 20 exalts. Pretty nice sale. I personally would have valued these at around 20 and 25, so I mean, I'm okay with that. This is just a purchase. I don't remember what I was crafting when I bought these, but this is 500 divine orbs for 100 exalted orbs. I really wanted divines that day, I don't know why. I don't know what this is for. Oh, this was a bug when they changed the display numbers. You see how big the 10s are? You can't even tell what's behind them. These are exalts and these are divines. It just looks really weird. Okay, so this is a corrupted 6-link Vol Regalia. I chaos spammed this a couple leagues ago. I think like 2 leagues ago now. And that was before Energy Shield was was nerfed. This was like before life meta. In the current league, this is a really nice chest. Because it's got life, mana, extremely high resistances, and a bit of energy shield. Like, that's all the things that you want on a chest at this point. And it was 6 links with decent colors, and when I evolved it, so I just like, I don't know, I expected it to brick. It was just a really good chest before I evolved it, and I was like, I mean, this sucks right now, but in the future it's probably going to be worth something. So I just evolved the thing and then left it rot in my stash until somebody finally went and bought it for 8 exalts this league. This is a mirror service that I did for Vengeance Spiral. Again, these are all in my mirror thread in the description below the video. But it's +3 socketed gems, which is the highest tier. That means you can have a level 24 gem in here if you have a level 21 gem. It has percentage maximum energy shield, legacy roll, as we talked about earlier. Rarity is a prefix, and then suffixes we have perfectly divine intelligence, all res, and fire res, all tier 1. This was mirrored by a summoner that wanted a level 24 stone golem for some reason. I mean, it gives you a ton of life regen as a level 24 thing, but that's what he wanted it for. It's an alternate art base as well, so it's pretty attractive to have in your inventory, and he mirrored it, so congratulations to him. I was chaos spamming and this one happened. I remember this one. I was trying to chaos spam Sandbar Scepters for like high spell damage and crit stuff. I chaos spammed this one into perfect T1 suffixes, which was really weird. It's currently sitting in my projects tab. I'm not sure when I'm going to work on it, but it's tier 1 attack speed, tier 1 crit for spells, and tier 1 global crit multi. You may ask why attack speed instead of cast speed, because people that use like scepters, they usually are going to use shield charge for movement, not a casting spell. So that allows you to shield charge really, really fast. It's got that crit multi for your spells, and it also has a penetration implicit, which is very, very nice for non-crit builds or crit builds, because it just lets you get that little bit extra damage through. So if you're using more than one element, this penetration becomes more valuable in my opinion. And this was another one that we chaos spammed into. I actually annulled off a prefix to try to get these 2 T1 prefixes alone. I did hit the annulment orb. It's merciless tier 1 physical damage and the electrocuting tier 1 lightning damage roll. And it had some other really bad prefix on it, but I annulled that off of it, so we ended up with this double prefix base that I can work on at some point in the future. Oh, this was funny. When Mames came out, I leveled, when all the new support gems came out, I threw a bunch of them on a character and leveled them all up to 20. When they hit 20, I evolved all of them. I believe that video is on my YouTube channel somewhere. And a couple of them went 20, some of them break, one of them went 2023, and a couple went 2120. This is the one that went 2023, and because it's such a new thing, and they don't exist really on the market yet, people pay a lot for them. I sold this one for 5 exalts. Like, I mean, all it cost me was a transmute to buy the thing, probably a week or two of leveling, and then a Vol Orb, and I traded that for 5 exalts. So you can Vol the meta gems and hit 21s on them. You will make a lot of currency. Like, for example, right now, level 2120 Cyclones, Dark Packs, Blade Flurries, like Spectral Throw, Kinetic Blast Barrage, those sell for a ton of currency. 6-link Viz Mortis, this one I believe is Legacy ES. I don't remember really, but Spectre builds are very popular right now, and this one sold for 7 exalts. Again, another example of why you vol unique gloves, unique amulets, unique belts that don't normally sell. Unique boots sometimes as well, like Dark Ray Vectors. These are a pair of Meginord's Vice, which are used by Righteous Fire characters occasionally. They're used by, like, Brutus-led Sprinkler builds, Iron Will casters, stuff like that. I evolved these, actually I qualityed them to 1%, very important. I always feel like I get better results when I do 1% quality on these, so that's why it has 1% quality. And then I threw a Vol Orb at it, and I hit the highest roll Vol non-hit Curse, which is very, very good money. Sold these for 7 exalts. 1 Vol Orb for 7 exalts. I mean, I was gonna vendor the gloves anyway, but I just threw the armor scrap, and the Vol Orb, and then it multiplied into 7 exalts. Beautiful sale. Okay, this is another example of why you evolve things. You notice a trend here? So this is a Perfect Life Lion's Eyes Vision, and I evolved it with quality with +1 socketed gems. It's like a 1 in 100 chance to hit this or something like that on a high item level chest. And this was actually the only Perfect Life +1 socketed gems one available on the market. And there was one other +1 socketed gems that was already 6-linked, which was selling for, I think it was listed for 70x or so. So that's why this sold for so high, is because it was competing with that one. And basically the cost difference between the two is how much it would cost you to 6-socket this with for each 8 requires 350 Vol Orbs, 350 Jewelers, and then to 6-link it requires 1500 Vol Orbs, 1500 Fusings, and then to color it requires a bunch of chromatics and as many Vol Orbs as chromatics as you spend. So I gave him like the lower half of it, because the rest of it he's gonna have to spend to get that 6-link with the right colors. But this effectively gives you a 7-link chest if it's 6-link, because you get level 15 Pierce as well, and you get +1 socketed gems to 6 of those. So it's a very, very powerful DPS chest. Attack builds love this thing. Sometimes even casters as well, but generally attack builds. What we got here? This is another Discharge Jewel. Same guy as before, actually. I don't know why these are out of order. But it's attack speed, damage, crit multi, which is insane for Discharge. It adds a ton of base damage and then multiplies that. It also gives you the attack speed so that you can move faster throughout the map with your shield charge. Oh wow, this is actually the only time I've gotten a To Calculate drop. Normally when Ebony Tower Shield drops, it's the Sherbadabnog's Pillar Shield, which is terrible and nobody ever wants it. But this is the one time that I think so far in my career that I've seen this thing drop. It's very, very rare. And this is, for those of you that don't know, this is To Calculate's Fortress. It gives +1 to the number of totems that you can have out and blood magic. So it saves you a lot of skill points from getting blood magic, and it gives you that totem for the extra DPS. It's very, very nice for like War Chief type builds. I think it's worth like 5 to 10x or so, 6x, somewhere around that area. Good drop. I was pretty happy about it. What do we got here? This is a multi-modded Harbinger bow. In almost any league, any 6-link Harbinger bow with above 350 DPS and crit is going to sell for somewhere around 10 exalts. This one I believe was around 330-ish maybe DPS. I'm not 100% sure on how much DPS it was. I can do the math real quick. Let's do a demonstration on how to calculate weapon DPS. You take your minimum plus your maximum divided by 2. This gives you your average damage per hit, and then you multiply this by the attack speed, and you get your DPS. So this one is actually 337 PDPS with 8.7% crit. Pretty good. Not 350 though, so it's a little bit less than 10 exalts. That's why it's sold for 8 exalts. It also has very, very nice colors. It's 4 off color. That works very well for like elemental attack builds, such as Full Conversion, Lightning Arrow, or Blast Rain, or Barrage along those lines. It's a very nice bow. It's got a pretty cool name too. Oh, this is the first stage of Damnation Bind when I got really lucky and hit Wed. This build is actually finished, and I mirrored it out for the first time a few days ago, but this was before I hit the life roll on it. It currently has the perfect T1 life, 99 life, and then perfect T1 Wed, perfect T1 Fire, Cold, and Chaos resistance, and 5% move speed, which is a perfect T1 roll as well. And it's beautiful. I love this belt. I think it's one of the best belts I've ever made, if not the best, and it's in my mirror thread. You should mirror it. The fee is only 30x. It's pretty cheap. What do we got here? Oh, this is the same thing. This was an interesting belt. It has the potential to have over 1,000 armor with Iron Reflexes because it's 320, 320, 320. Sorry, 320, 320, and 456. It has perfect T1 suffixes, T2 Wed, open prefix for like Eternal Exalting for life or Energy Shield or crafting move speed. I don't know, it's up to you. It's a very, very nice Aegis chest, CI Aegis particular. If you convert that to, or sorry, not CI Aegis. If you convert Iron Reflexes, if you convert all the armor and evasion into just pure armor, it gives you so much armor out of a belt. It's pretty cool. What do we got here? This is the gloves that I used to use on my Righteous Fire Chieftain. That is probably my second most popular build guide I've ever made. I made a hugely detailed forum guide. It's a very, very successful video. I'm pretty happy with it, but I used to use these on that character. They are the Essence of Delirium, I think, gloves. For 30% more damage over time suffix. They have strength, they have life, they have lightning 2 attacks for your essence, or for your elemental equilibrium proc. They also have the correct enchant for my build, which is Commandment of Light. When you take a crit, which means that whenever you take a critical hit, you drop Consecrated Ground and you get 4% life regen, which helps you shoot back up to full really, really fast on a regen character. It's very, very nice. These sold for 40 exalts, which is a lot more than I expected to get for them, honestly, but I just threw them in a tab randomly when I took apart that character, and this guy really wanted them, so I'm okay with that. What do we got here? This is an edition of Honor Girdle, which is currently waiting to be Eternal Exalted with T1 Wed, but this is the previous edition with T3 Life and T2 Wed. Currently it has T1 Wed and open prefix to be Eternal Exalted for life. When that gets finished, I'll be very happy with the belt, because it will be the #1 Hysteria of DPS belt, because it has Hysteria Penetration and perfect T1 suffixes. I just gotta finish the prefixes and it'll be beautiful. It's also on an alternate art base, so that's pretty cool. Now what do we got here? Another example of a Legacy Energy Shield % ring with +2 socketed gems. This was sold to a low life Guardian. It has a ton of resistances, mana regen, +2 socketed gems, and % ES. Again, same as the other rings, I threw these all in 10 to 15x tabs. And this one sold for 13x. Hooray! Oh man, this one made me laugh too, because it is a gem that I actually just volled randomly. Anytime you get a jewel that has life minion damage on it or energy shield minion damage on it, it will sell for at least 3 to 4 exalts. I say this in like all of these videos because I always have at least one of them in there. But this was the, I think it's the Spark Jewel that gives additional projectiles. I'm pretty sure that's what that one is. But I just volled it because I wanted it cannot be silenced. And it turned into a 4-property jewel that happened to have life minion damage on it. So I then just sold that immediately for 3 exalted to a summoner. Because that's what you do when you have these jewels, you just sell them. They're worth around that much every time. Another example of a % ES shield. This is a T2 Dex, T2 Int, bad cold res, but it has tier 1 energy shield, % maximum energy shield, and added cold to attacks for equilibrium. I believe this guy was Righteous Fire Guardian, so it's similar type of ring as the previous guy, and it sold for 12.5 exalts. I'm making a lot of money off these rings that I crafted before 3.0. It's pretty cool, I'm happy with it. Oh, this, I've never seen something like this. So for those of you that are unaware, Tyrannical is tier 2 % phase, Celebration is tier 1 attack speed. The chance of hitting Tyrannical is around 1 in 8,000 alterations for a hybrid caster attack weapon. Like scepters, wands, and daggers. It's very, very difficult to hit fizz rolls. And I somehow managed to alteration spam into physical damage at attack speed, which is like basically completely unheard of and will never happen again. So I screenshotted it. I believe I reeled this in at bricked, but I don't remember. I'm assuming it bricked because I don't have another screenshot, but was a very cool moment of RNG, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. This is the second mirror service on my Maelstrom Caress Conjurer gloves. These ones I'm very, very proud of. I traded for the base, which is Legacy Insanity. Currently it's 16% more, but it used to be 20% more. They have Perfect Fire, Perfect Lightning Res, T1. Then I metacrafted them for Life and Dual Leech, so that they work for basically every attack build ever. And I use these on my Lacerate Slayer, Flying Purple People. This guy is making my build and wants my gear set, so he actually mirrored my gloves and the Fuse 30 Exalted Orbs, but they're probably one of my favorite mirror items that I've made. I'm very happy with them. You should mirror them too. They're my mirror thread in the description below. Shameless plug. But yeah, I don't know. This was just a cool moment. I think this was like my 12th or 13th mirror service. What do we got here? Oh, look! Fizz damage, attack speed with one-handed and global crit multi. That is a 4 damage property jewel, which means I'm gonna sell that for a minimum of 4 exalts every time, because I just do that. That's how much they're worth to me. That's how much I would pay for them. That's how much I sell for, or more usually, depending on the build. But this one's really, really good for like a crit one-handed build. So I don't know what he was. He's an assassin something. I don't know if it was Spectral Throw. I don't know if it was like Blade Flurry, but 4x. I'll take it. I don't know what these are doing in here. Sorry. What do we got here? This is an interesting one. So this looks like a bad amulet when you first look at it, because it's got 1 ES, 5% ES. Like, that sounds terrible, right? But this guy's a Dark Pact Berserker, I believe, or a Righteous Fire Berserker. I think he was RF Berserker with Doom Kubiari. So the rolls on this are tier 0 strength, which is essence only. T1 only goes up to 55. Essence goes up to 58. This also happens to have perfect tier 1 life on it, along with Fire Res and Dex. RF builds always need Dex. And this is on a marble base for that life region, so I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I was just essence spamming these. Hit this one, it was too good to reroll, but not good enough for what I wanted. So I ended up selling it for 18 exalt. Pretty solid. This was the easiest Metacraft session of my life, I believe is the YouTube video name if you Google that one. But we have the double T1 prefixes, or T0 T1 prefixes. And then I crafted a last prefix and then started metacrafting the suffixes. Within, it looks like 3 attempts, I hit T1 Fire, T1 Cold Res, and then open suffix for the last resistance, which we'll have to Eternal Exalt at some point. This is still currently under construction. It's been linked, but I haven't Eternal the last suffix yet. It was just such a fast session, though, that it was like an amazing moment of RNG. I slammed T1 Fire into T1 Cold, or T1 Cold into T1 Fire, and that's like unheard of that early on into a craft. This is one of my subs, Stuff, and some of you may know this wand from Harbinger Softcore. It is currently the best elemental wand in Harbinger Softcore and in Standard. And he picked up the base and then came to me with it, asked what to do with it. He wanted to sell it, and I was like, no, you're gonna finish that thing. So convinced him to do that. He's hoarded a couple hundred exalts and then metacrafted the suffixes into perfection. And this thing's been mirrored, I think, 30 times now, at least. He's making bank off of it, and he's very, very, very happy and grateful that I advised him correctly to keep it and finish it. It'll still get mirrored even in Standard. Like, this is the best Ellie wand you're going to get for Tempest Binding Wander right now. It's so good. So I'm pretty happy about it, and very, very happy that he's started mirroring it out. What do we got here? Oh, this is the same guy that mirrored my gloves, the Lacerate character. He bought one of my old jewels, which is triple damage life on swords. These jewels are actually very, very rare and very difficult to get, at least in Standard, because people snap them up instantly. So the ones that are left on the market are very, very expensive. I think I had this listed for 25x. He paid 23. If this had been with maces or axes, it would be worth even more, because those earthquake builds and cyclone builds, holy crap, they will pay so much for items like this. And that's no exception. What is this? I think I alked this, and it was like such a perfect box that I had to screenshot it. It's like quantity and 8 additional items is the best combination for an Arcanist Strongbox, which is the currency Strongbox, by the way. But yeah, it was so good I had to take a picture of it. It also happens to be in Solo Self-Found Harbinger Hardcore League. Normal Labyrinth, it looks like. Is this Normal Lab? Basilica, yeah, this is Lab. That's one another reason it made me pretty happy. I was like, damn, I'm just gonna get the most currency out of this box, but I think it dropped nothing. Here is another Righteous Fire Marble Amulet. This has Essence Fire damage, T1 Essence Fire damage, and then T1 Life, Lightning Res, Strength. Perfect for my type of Righteous Fire build, Strength-based RF. And again, 18 Exalts, same price as the other one. What are these? Oh. These, like, sometimes I pick up rare gloves and I'm like, these are good gloves, but in Standard, these are not good enough to sell. So I'm not going to waste time trying to sell them. I'm just going to vol them. In this case, I vol level 12 Temp Chains on hit, which is not very good in PvE, but it's very, very good in PvP. Sadly, I didn't realize when I screenshotted this that I actually cut off how much Exalts this is, so I don't know how much this is. It's 10 or less. I would assume it's probably around 10x for Life Dual Res Dex gloves with Temp Chains on hit. Might be more than that, I don't know. I should probably have put the mouse over here instead of over there, but it sold for a lot of Exalt and I spent a vol orb on it. I took 2 screenshots of it. I didn't see the Exalt in either one. Good job, Demi. 10 out of 10. Alright, what do we got here? We're back to solo self-found Harbinger Hardcore League. This is in Merc Lab, and I got one of my first 6-link drops out of that. It's corrupted, which is terrible, and it's a bow, which is also terrible, but I mean, that translates into a Divine Orb and solo self-found. And those are very, very valuable. This was on the earlier stages of my, what is now Namu's Cyclone Slayer. This was back when we were Cleave dual wield. So this is pretty early on in the character's life. We're still in Hardcore League, actually, so this is pre-level 72 when I died. And there's my death. Man, good times. I died to a Vol Detonate Dead from Bameth in my second map. If you go on my stream and you type the exclamation point RIP command, it'll link you the video. It's pretty funny. I wasn't fire res capped. I was doing a map with Beyond on it, not thinking about it. I stood on a shrine. I leveled up on the shrine, so the animation of me leveling up covered up Bameth's portal. I didn't see this thing at all. I didn't see him. And I just kept cleaving the pack, and then he blew up everything and I died. As you can see, I still have my skill point. That's how soon it was after I leveled. Pretty good death. I was happy with it. Oh, and here's our finished Damnation Bind Rustic Sash. You saw the previous version without the life, and this is the finished product. It's a beautiful belt. I'm very, very happy with it. It took 1 Exalt to hit that perfect life roll. So pretty. Mirror my belt, thanks. Alright, moving on. What do we got here? This is one of the triple T1 bases that I made for Offak when we were going for his contract craft, basically. He offered me a bounty of like 20 or 25 Exalts to get a specific set of suffixes on this helm for him. First Lundrill tried for it. He couldn't do it in a couple thousand chaos, so I tried it. And within like 500 chaos or so, I hit this, which is Strength Int Fire Res, T1, T1, T2. Open prefixes so it can be metacrafted, but turns out Offak didn't want this. He didn't want the intelligence roll, so we actually ended up re-rolling over this later into this. After like, how long was this? 15 minutes later, I got this roll, which is T2 Fire, T2 Lightning, T1 Chaos Res, and T1 Life already on it. So I got the bounty. This was within, looks like 300 Chaos afterwards. This was what he wanted. He wanted dual res Chaos Res or triple res, or dual res Strength. I hit that dual res Chaos Res, which is juicy. And Offak is actually, I think he's done metacrafting this now. It should be in his mirror thread. But it's like, it's the best Dark Pack helm on Standard right now, so it's a beautiful, beautiful helm, perfectly divined. Go mirror it, he's a great dude. And what do we got here? Oh, yep, here's the bounty. I forced him to log back in at like 10:30 p.m. He's supposed to be asleep. He goes to sleep way earlier than I do because this is on a different time zone, and like he was pretty pissed off that I woke him up, but he's very happy that I got the item for him, so he did it. He loves me. Good, good helm. And what do we got here? This is the finished metacraft of Armageddon Peak. I believe this YouTube video is on my channel. If you ever see me metacrafting an item or I talk about an item that I've metacrafted, if you look up the name of the item on YouTube, you will most likely find the metacraft video. If you look up Crafting Armageddon Peak Hooper Circle, you will find this entire video, but this is the finished product. It's more elemental damage, horror essence, T1 fire, T2 lightning, T1 life, T1 ES, all perfectly divined with crafted T1 wed, with 30% increased Assassin's Mark curse effect. So I thought this would be pretty good for like a Herald Bomber type character. That's my thoughts for it. I might change the enchant on it yet, but I think Assassin's Mark Curse effect is very good for Herald Bomber, because Heralds don't have base crit, and Assassin's Mark gives crit, so it's like pretty good for that type of build. What do we got here? Oh, this is the #1 life armor in Path of Exile, actually. This is on my Lacerate Slayer. It's the best life armor in game. It's T0 strength, T1 life, T1 hybrid life, T2 fire, T2 cold, and crafted wed. This is, like, I'm very proud of this item. I crafted the base myself from an item level 100 Glorious Plate turn-in back last league in the middle of Legacy League, because I knew that this league was going to be the life meta, so I got the base ready last league, strength, res. And in this league, when they added the hybrid life armor rolls, I meta-crafted the prefixes until I hit both of those things. And it looks like it took, let's see, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, plus 12, 30, plus 7, 37 Exalted Orbs to hit those prefixes. That's pretty solid, actually. I think I only did the one session on it, but yeah, the video again is on the YouTube channel if you just look up Carrion Jack Glorious Plate. It's a very, very good moment for me. This sadly has not been mirrored yet because there's so many good unique chests out there that people are hesitant to mirror rare chests. Especially because when you mirror an item, it locks the colors. But I mean, it's such a good chest, dude. It's got like 170 max life on or something like that. 90 res and wed. Like, what more can you want? I don't know what this is. It's something to do with Lundra was crafting rings. I think he hit this. T1 fizz, T1 cold, T1 wed on a ring. Pretty good. Oh, I remember. He was meta-crafting this. Triple T1 prefix base. Like, pure damage base. And he scoured it accidentally. Like, I left him alone for 2 minutes and he fucking scoured it. He was trying to do, he was supposed to do prefixes cannot be changed and then scour. He just scoured it, and so the ring just died and we cried for a little bit, but it's okay. What we got here? Another legacy % ES ring. Holy crap, who would have thought? Let's see. So this is T1 socketed gems +3, perfect 20% ES, int, mana regen. It's really good for low life or bot, guardian, whatever. And I sold it for 20 exalted orbs. It's legacy and T1. I mean, it's pretty good. What do we got here? This is strand in a strand with some strands. Strand. I don't know why this is a screenshot. That's okay. Let's move on with our lives. Oh, this guy randomly linked a legacy camps to me, which was cool. I don't know why that was, but here we go. This is another 4 damage property jewel, this time with one-handed axes. This guy actually bought, I think, a couple of these from me and a few friends. Like, they PM'd me after I showed this on stream because he was buying all of them. I don't know what he was playing. It was some weird one-handed axe build that he wanted a lot of attack speed on, so he bought this one from me for 5x. And what do we got here? This is a 100% perfectly divine Doomfletch Prism, 6-link, which I got, I think, a league or 2 ago, and I knew it was going to be worth a lot. I didn't know how long it was going to take for that to happen, but I waited until this league to sell it, which is when Doomfletch became obscenely popular for some reason. And there were only, I think, 3 of these on standard at the time, and I had 2 of them, so I had both of mine listed for 50 Exalted Orbs, and this one sold for 50x. I still have 1 left, I believe. If I remember, I still have the other one, I'm not sure. But yeah, 50x I will take any day. What do we got here? Oh, another thing that I vaulted when I picked it up, because it's not worth anything otherwise. The Deceiver also experienced a pretty huge spike in popularity this league because of the nearby enemies are intimidated roll. What that means is that they take 10% increased damage, which is the same as a 10% more multiplier to all of your damage if they're nearby. So melee builds love this, discharge builds love this, caster builds, whatever. As long as they're near the enemy, you get to deal a lot more damage to them. So this one, I got +1 endurance charges. I sold it to a berserker. I believe it also has perfect fizz, perfect life, and then minimum all res. But I mean, it's solid. It gives you 30% less damage taken from crits. Very, very huge defensive bonus. Very, very huge offensive bonus. It's got well rolls. Got well rolled. It's well rolled. Sorry. And +1 endurance charge. 4 exalts. What is this? Why do I have a screenshot? I think this is just showing off my resistances with my gear set on. My full mirror set. It's in my mirror thread. It's in the build guide for flying purple people. But I have fully capped chaos res, lightning res, cold res, fire res, and I don't know. It just looks really cool to have Chaos Res Cap on a build, especially a life-based build. There's my max tooltip, 304k DPS with Lacerate. And then we got a Strand and a Strandzana. And then this is one of those PMs that I get actually quite often, where people think I can read their mind, or they assume I only have one item for sale on PoE Trade. This is no context. I don't know who this guy is. He gives me out of the blue and says Ring for Exile? Question mark? Like, there's so many things wrong with this that I don't know where to start, but like, what the hell do you think that is gonna, like, I have probably hundreds of rings for sale in at least 20 different tabs. No idea what ring he wants. He doesn't know what ring he wants. You just gotta paste the PoE Trade message. That's all you do if you want to buy an item from somebody. It saves everybody so much time. Please do that instead of this. Do not PM me this stuff. It's just like, what are you doing? What do I want? Or what do you want? What do we got here? This is an Opal ring. I-84 Opal ring with tier 1 life, tier 1 strength, tier 1 cold res. I don't know what tier ES, not the best, and crafted lightning res. It's got a ton of life on it for an Opal ring, but actually near the maximum amount that you can have, and it has a ton of resistances and LE damage. 20 exalts. We'll take it. Whoa, what's happening? Oh, this was another weird bug. Somebody I invited somebody to their party, and he joined the party, but my other invites like kept working for some reason. So I just screenshotted it because it was weird. And then I tried to actually like kick him or decline these invites, and it just kept saying that the party did not exist. I have no idea what was going on. I had to relog to fix this, but like, it was kind of cool. I don't know what was going on. Just a weird bug. What do we got here? This is a 105 life, which is the Essence life. It's above tier 1. Tier 1 goes up to 99. So this is T0 life with strength and 82% resistances along with 700 armor. Pretty good. It's sold to it looks like a pact character, so probably Dark Pact. Just a good helm overall. I think I just Essence spammed these. It was good. I was pretty happy with 7 exalts for that one. I don't know what this screenshot was for. Alright, let's move on. Don't know. Okay. What do we got here? This is a high DPS amulet. We have added lightning to attacks, crit multi, wed, and percent ES and strength on a Onyx amulet base. It's pretty high DPS amulet. It's very, very good for your elemental attack builds. And sold for 15 exalts. This belt actually made me really sad. This was a chaos spam belt, and it had a lot of potential. It's a rustic sash with, like, you know, the fizz damage implicit, so it's a DPS belt. It's got tier 1 life, tier 1 cold, tier 1 fire res, tier 1 fast life recovery rate, which isn't really a good roll, but it is T1. But it had terrible life regen, terrible life, or terrible ES. So I ended up just selling it for a couple exalts, but I mean, 3x for an item that has 3 terrible rolls, I mean, I think I'm okay with that. A Stibnit! This is back to Solo Self-Found. I dropped a, what is it called? Witchfire Brew in my first couple of maps after I died in Hardcore League, and I just kept playing Solo Self-Found in the Standard. I am still playing Solo Self-Found in the Standard. I love Solo Self-Found. I didn't want to lose the character and start over, so I just kept playing and developing my SSF in Standard. But yeah, this was a pretty cool drop for us. We were Pure Fizz at the time, Pure Fizz Cleave, so it was like the best drop we could have possibly gotten at that time. That was pretty good with that one. Level 76 is when I got that drop. I don't know what the screenshots in here, but anyways, looks like that is all of my screenshots for this video. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you did, or didn't, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a dislike. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I need to know in order to make more videos like this. So, if this helped you, just like tell me in any way possible, and it would be greatly appreciated. What else is there to say? I have a lot of other videos explaining things like this in the Demi Splains playlist. It is linked in the description below this video. If you like my content, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and following me on Twitch. I stream at least 3 times a week, sometimes like 5 times a week, sometimes for like 12 hours, sometimes for like 8 hours. I don't know, it just depends on the day. I've also been having... I'm not going to talk about that actually. So, if you also want to help support the stream, my Twitch, my YouTube, me and my career, I do this full time. There is a Patreon link in the description below. You don't have to, But anything that you give or choose to give is greatly appreciated, as it does help me continue doing this as a career. So, love you guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. That will be Demi out.